let's go ahead and get started. Healing Crystals 111, Practical Magic for Everyday Life. This is actually the second time I am doing this class. It was pretty well attended the first time I did it, and you know, people circled back with me and told me it was valuable. They learned a lot, and others, you know, wanted the recording or wanted me to do it again. So I figured, why not do it one more time? So that's what we'll be doing today. I want this to be interactive again. I want you to have questions ready, and I know lots of you on the line already do, but hopefully you got your crystals by your side. I brought some of mine with me. Let me see if I can see my video. I want to see myself. Oh, there I am. So I brought you some fun crystals today, and we'll talk about some of these, some of my beauties. I got a new, very special one that I'm going to share with you. It's the first time that folks are seeing it. It's a pretty magical one, so I can't wait to show that to you guys as well. We got one other person joining us. I'm going to let her in the room. Hello, Atoile. Welcome back to the webinar. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me just make sure all the lines are muted, so we don't have any background noise. All right. And I'll take it off mute at some point so we'll be able to all talk to each other, ask questions, and interact. So now the good stuff. Okay, so who am I? Most of the folks on this line know me already. My name is DeJuan Price. I like to think affectionately known as Juan, and I'm the host for your webinar today, and also the creator and visionary behind What Juan Knows. So What Juan Knows is sort of a creative space that I developed to share a variety of different things that I'm involved in. You know me, that's a Gemini moon. Like, I like to put my hands in a lot of pies, but you know, I'm a writer, blogger, I'm a poet, and also you know, a spiritual healer. Since I do tarot, I do readings, and I'll be offering those services a little bit later on into 2020, and I'll talk about that briefly at the end of this. But again, it's all sort of coalesced in one space, which is What Juan Knows. And really what I wanted to do was create a space for particularly women of color to live a life that wasn't, you know, shades of gray. I see so many women sort of, you know, wrapped up in what society thinks they should be, where they should be, what they should be doing. And I got sort of this passion project that emerged from my soul that was like, okay, enough of that. Let's live life in full color. Like the quote I have here by Maya Angelou, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do it with some passion, some compassion, and some humor, and some style. And that's how I like to think I show up in the world. And if not, that's the goal. So I hope you continue to take this journey with me. And listen, I appreciate everyone's support. Continue to, you know, ping me, text me, message me in a bottle, DM me, however you can with your questions, because I'm here to answer, and I love supporting and hearing about your journeys. All right. So let's get to the crux of why we're here. So crystals, they're pretty, people get excited about them, but I think it's a little bit of an intimidating space, particularly for women of color, because at one time there was sort of this, and I hate this term, I'm going to use it anyway, hippy dippy is one way they call it, or frou-frou, or, you know, a lot of that sort of psychedelic, even, you know, and I've been down this path before, but the, you know, vegan, and, you know, it's not a Black girl thing, but no, crystals are of this earth. They are certainly a Black girl thing. And I came into, I'll talk about my crystal journey, but I came to crystals sort of in a very divine and inspired way. They kind of found their way into my life. I didn't think that I would be this person, but now there's not a day you won't catch me with a crystal in my bra, on my wrist. I have them all around me at all times to help sort of manage and heal energy as I need to do so. But this is some of the reactions I get, particularly in my DMs. I want to use crystals, but I'm scared. Some folks that grew up in more traditional, I would say, religious backgrounds wonder, is this a cult? Am I touching something that's a little bit dangerous? What's all this about? Are they, you know, voodoo, all that kind of thing? I mean, you know, and that's a different discussion for a different day, but those are the kind of questions I get. Another one is like, I'm just nervous. How do I know if I get the right crystal? How do I know it's real? How do I know if it's not something that's going to cause, bad energy to come or something of that another. But the most common thing I get is the last little GIF on the my far right, which is, I don't even know where to begin. And that's most folks. I'm not sure if you can really see my altar because I'm sort of sitting in front of it, but I have like tons and tons and tons of crystals back here. And I think what happens is that you get on IG or you'll get on, different social media or talk to friends, and they have this large array of crystals, and it's like overwhelming. You go into a metaphysical shop, it's not even clear where you would begin. Like, what are my fundamentals? So I'll talk about how I got started. I'll give you some pointers on how you can get started in a way that's, accessible and cost effective. Because let me tell you, some of these crystals, they can get pricey, but lots of them are very, very accessible, entry level, $2-3 for some of the small tumbled stones like this one in my hand. This is a red jasper. Can't sure if you can see a little red jasper. This probably cost me maybe $2 or $3, so accessible. And I'll show you my my new treasure that didn't cost $2 or $3. That one, whew, it was a tag on it. All right, next one. A bit of background. So crystals have been around as long as we can remember in history. They were functioned as a symbol of power, prestige, and tokens of love. Crystals show up all over the Bible. The ancient Mesopotamians recorded 54 important crystals. So basically, human beings have been working with crystal energy, crystal magic, the divination of crystals, in their sacred geometry for, all of mankind. Even the ancient Sumerians, y'all remember that from like 5th grade history class, used these in their magical formulas. Other names for crystals, like my mom calls them, bring me a pretty rock. But no, gemstones, minerals, and stones. You'll have people call them stones, gemstones, and minerals. And they could be anything from like your birthstone would count as a crystal to what traditionally you may think of more of as crystal, like this rough cut amethyst I have right here. Usually when you think of crystals, you may think of something of this nature. It's a geode. Geodes are my favorite. It's like little treasures. So as I mentioned, the Bible mentions crystals over 200 times, and then mentions it in ways that are around sort of their protective power and magic. So just something to keep in mind. They really have been a part of various religions, various spiritual traditions, and I find them to be just as magical as any other modality or practice that I use. So I'm going to move on. My first crystal. So this is actually kind of a love story and a sad story. I'll tell you about this too. Crystals sometimes will vibrate out of your life. And I gave my first crystal away recently to a sister that I was doing some metaphysical healing and practice with, and tarot reading, crystal energy reading. Unfortunately, in the sense that she was going through some things and she needed the energy of that crystal in order to sort of move to the next level. I had gotten a sort of pull on my spirit. Rose quartz is a crystal that is known for its self-love energy. It helps with formulating the heart chakra, making it, stronger, more healed. And I just felt intuitively that she needed that crystal. So it vibrated out of my life just like that. And I gave it to her, and that was my very first crystal. My very first crystal I ordered online. I do not recommend that you do this route. Why? Crystals are like anything else. Like, we meet men online now, so that's another here, another there. But it's nice to meet folks in person, just like it's nice to meet a crystal in person. You can feel the energy. You can feel the power of the crystal. You can feel if it resonates for you. You can see the color. And I promise, you can go to a metaphysical store and a crystal will call to you and tell you, yes, I'm going home with you. You were the one that's supposed to go home with me. So I in retrospect, I think it's important to do it in person. But, online, it worked for my first crystal. Luckily enough, I didn't know what I was doing. I just went for it. I saw this pretty rose quartz. So the rose quartz I thought it was going to get me a boyfriend because it was a love stone. I was like, okay, I'm going to order this rock. And my lover is coming just like FedEx. The crystal came. But I'm still in pursuit of that special person. Not in pursuit, I'm still in receiving mode for that special person. But the good part is the crystal did its job. My self-love is off the charts. And it's through meditation and working with these crystals, as well as a lot of the other sort of work I've done in terms of helping find out who I was again after some really dark and deep times. But yeah, that's my crystal, and it's gone now. Another funny story. Can you all see the little green crystal next to the one in my hand? The green one? I'm pointing, but you can't tell that I'm pointing. But it's can I do like can y'all see the cursor right here, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an aventurine. That's an abundance stone. That one vibrated out of my life too during another tarot reading. I gave that one away. Okay, look, let me just tell y'all something. If y'all book a reading with me, it does not mean y'all getting a bonus crystal. It just so happens in the last 2 cases, that's how that went down. But maybe you will. But yeah, I gave the aventurine away to a young lady I did a reading for, because you wouldn't believe it. The card she pulled had an image of a woman with an aventurine sort of centered in her crown. And it was the exact same shape as my crystal. Getting the goosebumps just think about it. And I said, okay, no longer mine. Goodbye. Very, very favorite aventurine. And I'm hoping that it's serving that sister in her journey. Moving on. So I talked about rose quartz a little bit, but again, it enhances all kinds of love, self-love, unconditional love. And this is a great entry point for those of you that haven't worked with crystals. A lot of the times, that's sort of the space that people will enter from, either self-love, clearing negative energy, or creating more positive energy. So you're going to end up with rose quartz, or like a crystal quartz, or like an obsidian. And we'll talk about all of these, but all of those help to formulate different energy frequencies for positive and more loving environments and vibes. And I highly recommend the rose quartz for you, those of you who are getting started. That's why I framed the slides with it. So let's talk about what crystals won't do. Because again, like I thought I was going to bring my boyfriend, it won't do your work for you. So I had to do some work with myself. Anything from intentions, affirmations. We did a lot of this discussion last month during the Law of Attraction workshop, webinar, in which I talked about sort of the whole parameter and suite of things that I do in order to manifest and create this magical life. But again, crystals will not do your work for you. They are a modality, they are a tool, and you can use different techniques with them, like meditation, like crystal grid work, which is, more advanced, in order to help be a conduit to improve consciousness, mental health, wellness, and all of those things. It supports energy shifts and transformations, but again, it's not a shortcut. Again, like I said in the first one, almost the same thing, but they will not solve all your problems. It's not a magic bullet, just like anything else. But they will help. And here's another thing, crystals, and you'll get this on the web. They'll tell you a lot of different crystals to use, and they'll tell you which chakra to line them up with, and they'll tell you, okay, that can help with different health elements. And I firmly believe that whenever, I think y'all probably saw me on Instagram before, I'll take a crystal quartz and put it in my head during a meeting when I start to get these migraines, when people talking crazy. And yes, it does help. But what I will say that, medical intervention is necessary at times, and oftentimes it's a lifestyle change too, for more energy, for, more, mental wellness, more happiness. So you have to kind of use this in conjunction with the rest of your practices. And all of y'all are beautiful, wonderfully smart ladies, so I know you know this, but it's just important to keep that in mind. Moving on. So here's a little fun exercise that we'll do. Make sure that everybody's still with me. So you can put into the chat box for me the crystal that kind of speaks to your name, or to your, not to your name, to your soul or to your spirit. And what I will do at the close of this session before the end of the week, let me manage expectations before the end of the week, because I'm on a plane Friday. I might be doing it on the plane. Is to send you a crystal reading based on the crystal you chose. So I'll do this through a combination of the crystal you chose. I usually own the crystal you chose, so I'll sit with that energy and use my crystal cards and provide you with a reading. So if you want to participate in that, just drop a note into the chat and we will send you your crystal reading. And I'll send this out again, this particular slide, in case people need a little bit more time with it. But I'll leave it up for a few minutes and just let me know when you've picked your crystal and we'll keep rolling. Let me see if I can see the chat. So folks are looking. Okay. You can pick it by the number. Yeah, you can pick it by the number. So just, give me the number to the left of the crystal, and then I will go ahead and send you your reading. And I'll give you a few minutes just to figure out which one speaks to you. Epiphany makes a good point in terms of the name, and I'll just go ahead and put this out here now. I own a lot of crystals. I do not know them all by their name at first look. A lot of them I do know. I know this is my selenite. I know this is my argonite. I know this is my celestite. I know, of course, that this is my amethyst, but some of these jokers I'm not going to memorize. But, well, pro tip, this is one of my favorite apps, and I'll have this in a slide deck for you to see. I don't know if you can see my phone. It's called Stones. Stones is a great app for those of us who are still learning, because what you can do is find the image, if they have it in the app. Let me find one we have. So let me give you an example. So this is the aragonite. You already see that? Let me get a crystal. And right here in the app. So if I ever forget the meaning, I just have it in the palm of my hand. So yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. This is a bad boy. This is one that helps you get your mind right. It's a mind right crystal. And I can show you some others as well as we go on. I think most people have picked their crystals, and if not, you could do so afterwards. Just noodle it and let me know which one you want. And again, I'll send this out. Sweet. Got 30. Just trying to see what you picked. 30. My mama picked 34. 37. 34. 34 is beautiful. Yeah, they're all gorgeous. I'm going to do your reading on both 34 and 37, Tiffany, because you picked both. So I'm going to give you 2. All right. The universe is abundant. So for no other reason but that I love Rihanna, I include this slide because she's decked out head to toe in crystals, and we all know she's super magical, and I just live for it. Moving on. Are crystals really just sexy rocks? Yes and no. They are really, really sexy rocks, but they are also alive and conscious entities. So now the nerd's going to come out on me, because like this phone in my hand, the device you're on now to be in this actual webinar are all working, believe it or not, through crystals. Crystals, minerals, and different types of sort of rare, I guess you could call it, there's a word for it, but it escapes me now. But a lot of it actually found in the continent of Africa, not a mistake, not an accident. But they use all of that to sort of create and conduct electricity, copper wire, as we know, another example. But all of those things are sort of the energetic equivalent of the sort of connection that's in the human space. So crystals are able to receive and send human emotions. Their living nature. I mean, how they sort of transmute shape. Crystals are one of the only things that can completely change form for how they originally were created. And so we know that there's got to be some sort of divine intention around them. A properly programmed crystal can change and influence vast areas in the human world, including you. And that's what I found to be the case. So Tesla, everybody knows Nikola Tesla now. From the Tesla vehicles, that's his namesakes, electric cars, but he invented the either AC or DC. I always get it mixed up, but he was the contemporary of oh Jesus, is it Einstein? Anyway, I'm having brain farts. Sorry, I didn't have my coffee, but nonetheless, he created another form of electricity and also understood the crystals were evidence of the existence of, sort of the formative parts of our life. It's a life principle in a crystal, and he saw that in the problem of increasing human energy. So it's nonetheless a living being, he says, and we know this because, again, the sacred geometry. Look how perfectly that's formed. I don't know if you can see it. Moving on. So another little neat thing that I found in Eckhart Tolle's book, The Possibility, in his book, which book was this? I think this was, it's in my Audible. I'm going to tell you the book, but actually I have it in the end of the slides in the resources. But he talks about how flowers, crystals, and precious stones and birds sort of signify the human spirit. And I love this because, birds are my totem, hummingbirds, and crystals, again, signify that human conscious piece. It keeps coming back to that. We all feel that sort of connection, or many of us feel that connection to crystals or stones. We have fascination with them and just a natural affinity. They have this ethereal quality around them. Precious stones, diamonds, emeralds, all of those things. They sort of speak to the potential of human possibility and what it looks like to be enlightened. Like, I think of crystals every now and again as a really enlightened rock. And that's what we're all trying to be. Eckhart Tolle is so funny. Like, I love him to pieces, but I always have to read his books because his audiobooks, child. Ooh, monotone. All right. So, okay, those who are not on the science tip, let's go business. I have an MBA too. We can talk about how it's not the bastion of just the woo-woo world anymore. Practical application for crystals. Some of your favorite CEOs and entrepreneurs have them on their desk. They're taking crystals to the next level to help formulate and purify their mindsets. It's a common spirituals practice, along with tarot, along with astrology, along with numerology. Some of the most wealthy and influential and powerful people in this world, so-called powerful people, mind you, utilize all of these modalities. And I think it's becoming more into the forefront now as we sort of shift into a more conscious space. I pray for the nation and the world. Moving on. So choosing your first crystal. This is probably something that you all have a lot of questions on. So you're going to go to your favorite metaphysical shop. And I believe I included in the post communication for this presentation, a list of my favorite stores. But I'm in the DC area. I think many of you are as well. But there are stores in, small cities, big cities. And again, also you have the online option. But you can go to a metaphysical store and kind of get familiar with the environment. You want something that gives you a good feeling when you go in. For me in this area, and I'll send this out, so don't feel like you have to take it all down now, but there's Sacred Circle in Alexandria and Virginia. They have beautiful crystals, all price ranges, all kinds. And, you can feel like going out to Alexandria, you can go there. If you're closer in town, Silver Spring has S&A Bead Shop. Actually, that's Tacoma Park. S&A Bead Shop, they have many beautiful crystals. And then Silver Spring has the Enchanted Fae. So that's where I got mine from. Oh, you got yours from S&A Bead Shop or Sacred Circle, Tiffany? So while she answers, I'm just curious, like, oh, Sacred Circle, nice. That's one of my favorite stores. And by the way, they have some great readers there as well. If anybody's interested in getting readings, and they have some really good readers at Sacred Circle. It's actually a very peaceful, beautiful place, and I love going there. Do you know what crystal you got? Yeah, I know you live in Richmond, so I'm curious to know. Oh, okay. So you can type in the box, just out of curiosity, if you don't mind sharing which crystals you got. I'd just be curious to know. Okay, so another point, let your crystal choose you. And I wonder if this was your experience, Tiffany, when you went to get your crystal. Atwa, we went to Sacred Circle together, so I know that was yours. Going into the store and letting the crystal, tune into your intuitive knowing and just you picking it. And it's okay if you think it's pretty and that's why you picked it. You are going to be attracted to the shape, the color, and that's, it's fine. You can also ask the associates for help, where she said, in Sacred Circle, they're very, very helpful, very, very friendly. There are other places that I don't love. Oh, thanks for sharing. So she has Apocotherapy in Union Market. There's also one in DC. I want to say a larger one. That's the little pop-up one in Union Market, but they have another store with a whole bunch of like supplements. I don't even know you call those supplements. Jasmine, what do you call all the little powders and stuff? I wouldn't have spent so much money on little powders, put them in my smoothie in there. I love that store. But they had all kinds of powders. I spent money because they got me for sage crystals and little powders for my smoothie. But yeah, Pocket Therapy is a beautiful store, and I'll send this out. Nubian Human in Southeast. Okay, that's a new one for me. I've never been over there. Maybe that's where our December date can be, because I've never been over there, Jasmine. So you gonna hit me to something new.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Is it Black owned by any chance?
It's Black owned.
Woo!
It's the same woman who does the Black Love Experience. If you've heard of that event in DC. Mm-mm. She owns Black Nubian Human too.
Nice. Okay, yeah. That's where we'll go. I'm excited about that. And so, oh boy, put me on something new. See, I love it. So she has Black Onyx. That's a nice one. Tiger's Eye. Oh, that's one of the ones you want to have in your sort of starter kit for sure. She's got the red jasper. Nice. It's a good little starter kit. And how have you been working with them, Tiff? Have you been meditating with them? Or are you looking for ways to use them in practical life? Are you carrying them on your person? Just curious. And as she types that out, I'll say, oh, she keeps them in the bra. Yes. She's all of us. That's exactly what I do. I was laughing because I told everybody at the last training, and I'll tell y'all so y'all can laugh at me, that I was keeping my little carnelian, which is great for your sacral chakra, in my panties, and didn't remember when I went to the bathroom that the little carnelian was in my panties. And so it goes rolling out under the stall, and the woman was just like, oh my God, sis, your bracelet broke. I was like, ma'am, just drop the rock. Like, you want no parts of that. But anyway, it happened, and I'm okay, and she's okay, and I got it back, and it's all fine. But sometimes those things happen, it is what it is. So moving on. Crystals want to move. I mentioned before that I have communed them back to the universe where they belonged. And I gave them to the people that needed them, my aventurine, my crystal quartz. But let me show you how life works out. I posted this on my Instagram yesterday. So I gave my rose quartz away, and when you know it, my girlfriend sent me a rose quartz soap, and it has a little rose quartz in it that I have. It's smaller than my other rose quartz, and so I think that means I'm actually moving well in the self-love space. Maybe I need a little bit less power. I don't know. Maybe it's small and mighty. We just don't know. But I thought that was great. I mean, within I want to say 2 weeks of giving that crystal away, another one vibrated back into my life. And actually more than just that one, she gave me like 5. So I'm like, listen. Oh, and the other thing I want to show you, this one's super delicate. So this pretty one, and let me see if you can see this, is my latest. Oh, come on, camera. This is so unintuitive for me. That's my latest crystal. Can everyone see that? And I actually pulled out the description of this. So I wanted to make sure that I had it in detail. At least I thought I did. What did I do with it? Just when I thought I had it all together. Oh, there it is. Okay. I pulled a little description out. So this latest crystal, can everyone see that? It's actually one of the prettiest crystals. You can't see it because I'm doing it the wrong way. This is actually one of the prettiest crystals I've ever gotten. It's quartz with rutile and hematite. This one had a more of a premium price range, but it's really, really good for helping to not only clear negative energy, but create opportunity and abundance. And I'm moving in some spaces now with the business and some other areas of my life where I really felt this energy speak to me. It's quite delicate. And if you can see the little gold specks in there, that's a very, very rare crystal. and it can get stuck in your skin. That's why I'm carrying it kind of open palm like this. You have to be super careful. Another piece with this is some of these crystals are very delicate. So even when I do readings, I take them with me, I'll find the little pieces may chip off. So I'm learning to wrap them and be super careful with them. If a crystal breaks is a question I get often. So people have two minds on this. Some say just dispose of it and don't use it anymore. Others will keep the crystals on their person in order to, you know, have the energy of it. It just, you know, depends on what you want to do and how broken it is. Use your intuitive guidance to make that decision. But, you know, this is my crystal quartz. It had another little piece on it that actually broke off because it was so delicate, but I decided to keep it because it was still more or less uniform. I've had other pieces that broke that I decided, okay, I'm going to move on from those. I don't feel the energy in the same way. I'll move on to the next crystal. So these are some of the ways you can use crystals, and we got some folks on here that are familiar with them. So I granted many of you using them for comfort, cleansing, manifesting, clearing, grounding, and healing. Just some examples. And you can get tumbled, polished, or raw or natural. I prefer the geodes of this kind. They just, in the one I just showed you all, the really rare one, they really just speak to me in a, you know, in a different way. But I love them all. These are super. You don't want a geode in your bra, for instance. These are super, super healthy. So Jasmine says in the chat, I have so many. I bought like 7 at the same time to start. So let's see what she got. She got a desert rose, a pyrite, good one. Black tourmaline, a must-have if you work in an office environment. I highly recommend black tourmaline and obsidian because you don't know what them folks is carried into that workplace. Put them on your desk, put them under people's chairs. I've had more people resign from my job from maybe I didn't put a tourmaline under their chair when they was acting up and needed to go. I'm not saying I did it. I'm just saying sometimes you have to do what you have to do. She got amethyst, selenite, tiger's eye, rose quartz, lapis, amazonite, bloodstone. Oh yeah, she got a bunch. Watermelon. I have to come see your collection. The watermelon tourmaline, which is a beautiful crystal. That was on the sheet from where I told you could pick them from. But yeah, all of these are beautiful. That's a really good collection. Did you get rough tumbled or raw natural, Jasmine? She's gonna probably type.
I have, some of them are rough and some of them are tumbled.
Yeah, same with me.
But all of mine are as big as yours. They're small stones, the ones that I have.
Oh no, I have. Look, listen, I just didn't. Let me grab them. I just didn't. Oh, I didn't drop. I'm sorry, I dropped one. I just didn't show y'all the tiny ones, but see, I got. Come on, camera.
Smaller ones.
Yeah, here's some of the smaller ones. See, but I've been doing this for a lot of years now, so you'll find, and I'm running out of altar space at this point, so I have to get a new altar. If anyone sees a new altar that looks like it might be Dewan's altar, let me know. I need a new altar space because I'm running out of room. But yeah, I would say that these crystals are in the mid-side range. You've seen the big, huge, yeah. I'm eyeballing one of those bad boys right now, and they are not without a price tag. But that energy you would want in your space, I can see why people invest in it.
Yeah.
For sure. Great feedback. And I love your collection. Lapis lazuli is one of them. Oh, do you have a lapis lazuli? You have added lapis opalite.
Yeah, lapis lazuli. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, just making sure. I can't see. But yeah, that's one of my favorite crystals. I have lapis lazuli bracelet. Oh, another way you can do this if you want it on your person is just to do the bracelets. It's like I'm running out of altar space. I'm running out of arm space. I often give these away as well to people that I feel need whatever I got going on. Might have given to a couple boys. Maybe not. Maybe so. I'll never tell. All right, let me go back. So crystals and chakras. And I'm not going to be anticlimactic because we're doing some chakra study at the end of the month on the 18th. And I hope that's not too close for Christmas. I know some folks are already registered, but I wanted to get that in there for December because folks have been asking for this one. But You can get crystals. We just talked about the lapis lazuli, to tie to your chakras. And I'm giving you the really basic breakdown on chakras right now. We'll get into the deepness of this next in a couple of weeks. But again, they're energy centers that are centralized in different body parts. And they will rotate and move depending on the amount, back up, depending on the health of the particular chakra that we're talking about. Some people will say, how do I know if my chakra is stuck? There are different ways to do that from an energy healing perspective through a chakra reading, or what's called a Reiki energy reading or healing, as well as intuitive sort of practices like creative visualization and meditation. So getting in touch with your chakras is a very personal thing. And where's my good chakra book? I don't want to go down the pipeline on chakras, but there's so many great resources out there. And I have a favorite book. I thought I had it near me. I'll share it with you all post chat, but just, you know, so much there that we can't go do a deep dive. Just know as you get your crystals, you can definitely tie them back to certain areas of the chakras that you need healing. For instance, with my rose quartz chakra, that was again for my heart. And sometimes they will, you see this, the chakras have colors. Sometimes the crystal will tie back to the color of the chakra, which makes it easy to remember what I need. Like I've got the amethyst for my crown chakra. I will often, you know, lay down at night when I'm stressed out from work and put that on my head. I can even feel it right now. It will help just sort of level the energy out. So let me check the chat. We got a comment from Tiff. Tiffany says she has 2 bracelets. Oh, she's got pink and, well, she's, because the AKA, so we got pink and green. Oh, she's registered for the 18th. Sure. So Tiffany, what I'm going to do for the 18th for that class, if I don't get a high enrollment due to the holiday, I'll push it to January. We'll just see how things play out, because, you know, you got to kind of supply and demand. So we'll figure it out, but I'll definitely be recording it. She's got rose quartz in the bracelet. Awesome. Move on. I just want to show you this. We're not going to do a deep dive on this either, and we're going to open it up for some more questions and feedback. But here's a crystal grid, and this is where it gets really sexy. You'll see that they have all sorts of crystals here of all sizes, along with looks to be some sage maybe that they have wrapped around there. And you'll note that it's rough cut, smooth cut, geodes, and just a sort of in a circular motion. And the way they've got this grid set up is all the different energies are connected to each other to sort of maximize the power of the crystal. Crystal grid work is something you do in more advanced crystal practices. I've done some crystal grid work. I'm really coming to my own on that now. It's more of a I won't say sophisticated practice, but it takes a larger crystal collection for one thing if you're doing a big grid. And then if you're using the pendants like they have, you'll have to have those. But there are different ways to do it and make it more accessible. And I like to sort of intuit my grids. They may not be as sexy as this one, but I will create grids based on how I'm feeling. Another thing I would do is pull crystals and align them with my tarot based on the energy the card is giving. And, you know, it always just lines up. And I don't have an explanation for it. I think that's what's the beauty and the magic of it. So I encourage you to look into crystal grids. And what I'm going to do probably in near February or late January is do another course that focuses primarily on advanced crystal work. If folks are interested in that, because we can get into the meat and potatoes, into the, that's a bad metaphor, but a different, more advanced engagement with crystals. So here's some resources, as I promised, and I talked about a few others, so I'll add those when I go ahead and send out the link to the training once I get that uploaded before the end of the week. But we have some books, Crystal Magic, Mineral Wisdom for Pagans and Wiccans. I own that. The app I showed you, which was the stone, the Healing Crystals 101 website. You can just Google Healing Crystals 101 and it'll take you right there. and another website, Beginner's Guide to Clearing Cleansing Crystals. We didn't talk about that, so I'll just note before we take some more questions. Charging your crystals. So how do you charge your crystals? When you purchase a crystal, what you're going to want to do is smudge them with some sage. I think most folks on this line have some sage or familiar with the power of sage for cleansing. You can use Palo Santo as well. You can use Florida water. Folks may be familiar with Florida water. I think I have some on my altar. I do. I hurt my neck, so if I'm moving funny, that's why I slept wrong. This is 40. Like, things just happen. You didn't cause them. I just laid down and I can't move. But here's the Florida water. It's really cheap on Amazon. A lot of these metaphysical stores are charging arm and leg for Florida water. You don't need to pay that. You can also make your own. But I use this one. Good old reliable. If it's good enough for salon, it's good enough for me. So I use those to cleanse some of my crystals. You have to be careful. People will say use salt water on your crystals to cleanse them. You can. It's not table salt. You need like rock salt, Himalayan sea salt, something that's high quality, and you should only be using it on certain crystals. And the fact that I can't gauge which crystals will react well to it and will not is why I don't do it that way. I use the smudge, and I also will, depending on this weather now, when there's a full moon, I'll take them and put them in a plant pot outside and let them charge by moonlight. If your neighborhood supports that, you can do that. Oh, that's a good question. I never asked the question. I don't have an answer, but she says, why Florida water? I just assumed they invented it in Florida, but I really don't know. Jasmine, you know? I had no clue in creation. We're going to go with that. Some man in Florida. I think Murray and Lanham. Let's assume, no, they say New York. That's a lie because it say New York on there. I don't know.
I don't know the true answer to be able to intelligently answer that with confidence, but I think it has some type of connection to like Santeria and like some of the religious things that originate from that area.
A lot of Haitian population in Florida.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But don't quote me.
That's you quick on this. See, she's a doctor of divinity. She's a smart one. This one, because I didn't even think of that. But I'm curious. I'm going to Google it with the last few minutes. And if you have questions, you can go ahead and open your lines or drop them in the chat. Because why is Florida water Florida? I don't know how to Google that. Why Florida water? Florida. If I can't find it, I'm gonna track it down and send it to you, Tiffany, because that's a really good question. Name for the location, the fabled fountain of youth. That's why it's Florida. It was the fountain of youth. Oh, I think I've read this before. It was created over 200 years ago. It was originally intended as a simple cologne. So, Jasmine, you were right. With voodoo, Santeria, and other nature-based faith, Florida water is used for cleansing and protecting oneself in one space. So apparently the fountain of youth was in some way in Florida, so that's why it's Florida water. Boom.
Okay. Got a new right. I'll take that.
We'll take it. I mean, hey. Any other questions? Questions about crystals or other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you answered one of my major questions, which was where does everybody go to buy? Because I found it hard to find places to buy them. Mm-hmm. And, you go on one place, but they only have like 10 stones. And then this other place only has 5. So like when you talk about like a really large collection and also where people are not like gouging prices, it's, so I appreciate that.
Sacred Circle for sure, for a starter pack, because one's a very inviting environment. I just love the energy in there, and they have a wide selection, and it's never like we're out of. Like my other little favorite one is Enchanted Fae, but they're a really micro business, so a lot of times they don't have I can't wait to address Tiffany's next question. A lot of times they won't have what you're looking for. So I went in and wanted a rose quartz and aventurine, but like I said, the crystal will find you, because this sort of segues with her question. I ended up with this one because it's the one I needed. So sometimes you got to kind of just let the process take shape. I'm putting this back on the altar because it's really so gentle. I don't want nothing to happen to it. So she says, Tiffany says, I need to learn how to connect or feel the connection. Okay, this has to do with, and this is actually, she a Virgo like me, so a lot of times we're in our own head and we're overthinking and processing and trying to do things right. Honestly, it comes down to mindfulness and being present, and you can gather a lot of that skill set through practices like meditation. It all turns into that intuitive sort of piece of yourself. And as a mom, I know you have it, tons of intuition. It's having access to that in an open way. And it's really letting walls down and just feeling the energy. And I get the goosebumps when I talk about it, but it's coming to that space through deep breathing, visualization techniques, meditation techniques, where you're open, where you're vibrating high. We talked a lot about this at the Law of Attraction workshop as well. There's different dimensions of emotion. And when you're on that high emotional scale, when you're up there, you're going to feel more intuitive, and you're going to feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can just go for it. And it doesn't have to be something that we overstudy or overanalyze. We can just trust our heart. And I know you have one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. So this is slight work for you. Just get out your head and go for it. I mean, it's just like that. I mean, there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong way to do it. It's literally a metaphor for life. And another thing I'll say is that I think the crystal collection will reflect where your current state of consciousness is. So as you evolve your consciousness and grow in this space, your crystal collection will reflect that. Because when I started, it didn't look like this. It has grown, and I think it's a result of me doing my work. So I think it's a reflection, it's an outward reflection of a lot of the work I've done, and everybody can get there in their due time. And then again, not everybody's modality is going to be crystals. Maybe for someone else, it's, I don't know, totems. Maybe it's because a lot of this stuff, astronomy, I will say, is another case like that, are larger sort of systems, maps, processes, reflections of the inner state of being or our consciousness. So you got to find your path. And again, that's going to come through meditation, reflection, prayer, getting closer to source, because that's the goal of all of this, is to connect with source energy or God. In my humble opinion, my TI voice on. Any other questions? We're about at 8:55. So in the last 5 minutes, I will do a plug. So right now we're set to go on December 18th for the CHAKRAS class. Again, I might move that to January depending on how things play out with registration, but I'll keep everyone posted. Another note, this one I have some notes on because I just wanted folks to know I am launching my first and not last cohort for my training, Light the Universe 2020, a life living course. 4 weeks of working with me online. We may do some in-person sessions depending on where folks are based, but to inspire high vibrational and purposeful living. And the point of this class is to give you the techniques you need through, great, Tiffany's setting up her one-on-one. I can't wait. I have a one-on-one with Sabrina after this one. So Sabrina, I'm going to call you as soon as we hang up on here. But we'll be talking about, traditional techniques from coaching, in which we're doing metaphysical practices. Doing goal setting, visioning, and mapping. So those are traditional coaching techniques. And then we'll sort of intertwine that with the crystals and the tarot and creative visualization and chakra healing, crystals, all of those things, mind, body, towards taking massive action. That's the Tony Robbins term. Massive. I walked on the coals with Tony Robbins. I'll tell you about that another day. But we'll help you raise your vibration and create the momentum you want to set your life up to be magical in 2020. Energetically, 2020, the numerology of that, the astrology of that, is going to be a really amazing year. So I want everybody in peak performance, including myself, to really create and manifest what they want. So if you go to the website, What Juan Knows, you can set up a one-on-one to learn more about what we're doing. And really, it's a time for me to gauge where you're at, what you're looking for, to figure out if it's a good fit for you to join the cohort, because we're going to be getting started in January on some intense mind, body, energy, healing, loving work, centered in love. Any other questions? I see a couple on here. Oh, question on tarot. Yay, chakras. Yes, ma'am. Chakras are coming. My mommy had a question. Can you give me tips on meditating with the stones? Yeah, mommy, I can. We could. I'll give you tons of tips. I'll give you tons of tips. I don't want to. It's my mommy, so I gotta give her a hard time. But if folks have a couple more minutes, let me just fill that question. So meditating with the stones. You can do this again in a very intuitive manner. I tend to lay sort of down when I meditate. Other people's will sit up in a chair. I'm trying to be the chair person, but I wake up in the morning to meditate, and sometimes my body won't let me be there. When they say the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. But the best version of myself wakes up at 4:44, does my meditation with my crystals. Yes, ma'am. That's the God hour. With the crystals sort of, lined up either on my person. And you can use apps for meditation. So I think I probably have to do a meditation webinar, because people have tons of questions on that. And most of the question is, my mind wanders. If your mind's wandering, don't worry, you're doing it right. That's what the mind does. It's the human condition. You didn't do anything wrong. Just keep going. 10 to 20 minutes a day of meditation. You can do meditation with apps like Buddhify. There are others. Buddhify is my favorite. Or you can just sit in silence and listen to the air conditioner or the heater hum. That's probably the best way to do it, because you're not distracted by a person's voice, and you're really just attuning to your own breath. It's really about breath work, and it's really about keeping your crystal sort of near you in a way that feels organic. You can keep them on your head, your heart, those energy areas of your chakras, any of those places. Question about tarot. How did you come to embrace that? Because of course there's so many bad stories about that. Like any modality, this is a great question, and we can talk about this when we hang out. But first of all, I use a melanated tarot deck. My tarot decks, I use 2 decks. One of them I'm not going to put on camera because I don't share that deck. It's very charged, and I just, I do readings with it, but I don't share it. This other deck is actually under my mattress right now because it's getting to know me. So I put it under my mattress. But this deck, if you can see it, I have all the cards. Man, this deck's so lit, like I posted the other day, like 6 of the cards just jumped out the deck for me and was like, yeah, this is your reading for the day. I just picked the deck up and the 6th one just fell. I was like, child. And it was all on point. But this is the melanated stand deck, another melanated tarot deck, all Black people in the art. Just to show those quickly, and I can send the links out if people are interested in this. And she still has them, because this is a sister made these cards. I think she was selling the last of this, and I was one of the last person to get it. It's very pretty. But how did I get into tarot? Tarot found me. I started with a melanated tarot deck. I do have a traditional tarot deck, but the traditional tarot deck I have is the one that honors the original artist, who was a Jamaican woman. So it's not tied to the European tradition in the same way to me. And it's very important to have that African lineage tied to it. Tarot to me, just like any other modality, I said it before, is a reflection of your consciousness. It's nothing to be scared of. The decks I use aren't scary, aren't centered in any kind of devil worship. I don't even take it there, because everything I do is in light. So for me, it's a tool to bring people towards more knowing and more light. And it's always a reflection of your consciousness, not a prediction of your future. It's showing you where your headspace is now and giving you some hints and clues of what you need to do from an inside perspective to keep going forward. And the question, how are you preparing for 2020? Sis, we're going to have to grab a coffee and talk about that one, because how am I not preparing for 2020? One of the things I'm doing is getting ready for this exciting course that I'm going to be teaching you guys. And I'm doing everything to myself that I'm going to be doing to y'all if y'all decide to take my class. So that's one of the ways I'm preparing. But I'm doing a lot of, not all jokes aside, I'm doing a lot of the curriculum for that, and then doing my life plan I do every year, which will actually be a part of the curriculum for the Life Living course. So you're going to be using the same tools I've used over the past 5 years to create and manifest the life that I wanted. So with that said, thank you for another amazing webinar. I appreciate all of you so much for your support. and patience with me. I'm going to get all the stuff I promised you out. If I forget something, Tiffany, I know you will, remind me. Because she be holding me accountable, my Virgo sister. I appreciate you so much, Sabrina. I'm calling you for our one-on-one, and I have Atoa, I have your application for your one-on-one, so we'll set that up on the Acuity system, and Tiffany, I'll look for your invitation on one-on-one, and then Jasmine, we're set up to have crystals and tea. Crystals and tea, maybe? Crystals and cocktails?
Yeah.
You know.
One of them.
Either one. Both.
Right.
I love it. That's Tiffany, I can't wait to, did you ever tell me the rest of your chart, Tiff? Because I want to know what your other planets are. I know you're a Sun Virgo, but I would love to know your other planets that we talked about the other day, your Sun, Moon, and Rising. Can't wait to learn more, because she's going to send it to me. Thank you, because I really want to know. I wonder if you have some Cap energy in there. I just wonder, because you're such a knowledge seeker, or maybe Gemini energy like me, because we want to know. We want hard. Any other questions before I hang up? I got to call Sabrina.
No, bye. Thank you.
Bye, lovely. Bye, guys. Bye, Tiff.
Thank you.